Hey everyone, my guest today is a content creator specializing in building online courses who has earned over $2 million in course sales. He also happens to live in the same neighborhood as me here in Colorado. Got my Colorado shirt on, and he even has his own YouTube show / podcast, which we're going to share with you. He's going to tell us all about how he's had so much success selling online courses. So stay tuned. MJ Wolf here, and
welcome to the Wolf Den.
Woo! Yo, that's exciting. I like the way that sounds.
Wow, I love to be in the Wolf Den.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are in the Wolf Den.
What's up? Glad to be here, MJ.
Hosted by MJ Wolf.
Hey guys, welcome to the Wolf Den. With me today is someone who has made over $2 million in online course sales. Like I mentioned before, he happens to live just a stone's throw away from me here in Colorado. And we even got one of our family members from him, which I'll explain to you in a moment. His name is Craig Shoemaker. Craig, welcome to the show. You are officially in the Wolf Den.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks, MJ. I'm so glad to be able to join you.
Awesome. And we have a great weather here in Colorado. It's a great state to be doing this. So before we get into all the details of your online courses and share your information, I want to talk to you real quick about something you gave to us. It's our cat, Frederick. Now, Craig's wife, would you call her a rescuer?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. She runs her own independent cat rescue called Foster Kitten Mama on Instagram. She has quite the following. And her superpower is being able to tell the story of each one of the kittens that we take in and find incredible homes for them, just like she did with you guys.
And these are cats that would wind up in a bad situation or euthanized otherwise, correct?
Yeah, that's right. And so often what she does is she works with the pregnant moms that are usually on death row or out in the street or in some sort of really bad situation. And she'll take them in and, care for them, nurture them, allow them to give birth, get everybody fixed up, including the kittens. And then, she's got quite a following and a system in order to be able to allow people to, get on a list, basically, to try and adopt the kittens out.
So we already had 2 cats, a dog, a hamster, a gecko, and as an actor, paying for all these animals as an actor, besides supporting my wife and kids, wasn't something I wanted to do. So adding another cat to the mix was not one of my top choices. But my wife went to your house to help out one time when you guys were on vacation, and this is what we wound up with. So this is Sir Frederick Winston Wolf. He wants to run
huge.
Right now. He's either on or off, okay? And when he is off, I'm going to put these pictures on the screen. He lays down on my chest, and he just falls asleep. My wife must have 80 photos of him on one of us, my son, her. Like, he just lays back, he puts his arm up, and he is out. He's like either narcoleptic or he's like on full go mode. And so he is one of the greatest cats I've ever owned. So I will say thank you for that. It's amazing that your wife is helping these animals. I want to put your wife's link down below if you don't mind as well.
Yeah, I'd love that.
So one more thing before we get into your stuff, I want to talk about our 5 faves segment. It's where we do our 5 favorites with each of our guests. And you're going to get to share your 5 favorite things. We're going to start off with your favorite movie.
It has to be A Few Good Men.
That's a great, dude, that scene, as an actor, the scene, the main scene when he is questioning Jack Nicholson, I don't think that if I could be 1/10 of as good as an actor as those 2 are in that scene, man, it's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, so I read this on the internet, so it's probably not true. But my understanding is that during, I don't know the terms for it, but you have the camera facing like Tom Cruise first, and Jack Nicholson is giving his reaction performance or whatever. And apparently he did it like 100% every single time. And so the last part of that filming was Jack Nicholson doing his thing, and he was like wiped out at the time. But apparently everybody in the cast and crew was pretty amazed because he just gave it his all every single time.
That's awesome, man. I will say that is probably my top 3 movies as well. So I'm going to go with you on that one. All right, let's go with band or musician.
Band or musician? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to go with Joe Satriani. He's a
guitarist,
independent. Right? Yeah, he's a like virtuoso guitarist. I'm reading his book right now, and his music's been a part of my life for a really long time.
Okay, I'll take that answer. All right, how about food? You're on your deathbed. You're on death row, and you got to have your last meal. What's it going to be?
It's a toss up between a really good steak and some really good sushi. Like I have such a hard time trying to figure out which one I'd rather have in the moment.
Okay, now? I'm a big sushi fan. My whole family hates fish, so we'll have to find out a sushi place to go together and have sushi together.
Okay. This actually is going to happen because I'm in the same boat. Like, my son likes sushi, but basically no one else does, and my wife certainly does not. So, since we're around the corner, we're going to do this.
All right, let's plan on sushi for sure. And number 4 is travel spot. If you can go on one place for vacation.
Oh man, I don't know about a destination necessarily, but just like a really nice, relaxing resort where I don't really have to do anything.
All inclusive.
That sounds all inclusive. Yeah, that sounds like the thing.
Okay, and number 5 of the 5 faves is your hobby.
Guitar, music,
yeah,
really.
Joe Satriani.
Yeah. I play guitar, drums, and bass.
Acoustic or electric?
Electric. Yeah. In fact, I just released a song last year where I played all the guitars and the bass, and I didn't do the drums on it because it was enough to do just for that song. But
can I put a link down below to that?
Dude, I would love that.
Okay. Now, one more. I'm going to go one more on this 5 faves. So since I'm a Led Zeppelin fan. My favorite band is Led Zeppelin and Pearl Jam. So
okay.
I'm going to ask you, who's the greatest guitarist of all time?
See, that's just not fair. There's so many different ways to slice it.
There's just too many.
Based off of influence, I'm probably just going to have to say Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
Because like all of the greats tend to point back to him.
Yeah. Okay. I was wondering if you were going to say Eddie Van Halen, but that's cool. We'll go with that. All right. So let's get into this. So online courses. This is how you've been making a living apparently for a while. How did you get started, and how long ago did you get started, and when did you decide you wanted to create your first online course?
Like most things in my life, it was completely by accident. I started out in college trying to get a degree in something I knew nothing about, and it turned out to be completely useless to my entire career. So it was a manufacturing degree. And during that time, I met a friend, and he started teaching me about computers. And I remember I'd go to his room, and he'd open up a computer, and he'd say, "That's the sound card, and that's the modem," and that. And I was like, dude, you can tell these apart by looking at them. That's incredible. And so out of college, we started a computer consulting company. He took pity on me and basically gave me something to do. And at that time, I was horrible at everything I was doing, but I saw the internet and I saw something that I could have an opportunity to be creative and be technical at the same time. And so I learned web development, basically all on my own, through mentors, books, and things of that nature. But it wasn't something I did at a university or anything like that. And basically started to make a name for myself in the industry. Started a technology podcast, writing for magazines, writing for books. And through my podcast, I had an opportunity to start building courses for a publisher. And, at first I wasn't really all that good at it. And eventually, after doing, I think something like 15 to 20 different courses, I found my way into a subject matter that I could really express well. And at this point, I've had probably hundreds of thousands of people who've taken my courses to help them with beginning web development. So yeah, it was no master plan, but there's two things that I know about myself at this point in my life, and that's that I'm a teacher at heart, and I love to create things. So whether it's a song or a podcast, or writing an article, or any sort of creative outlet, I tend to really enjoy that process.
Okay, and what was your very first course?
My very first course was something about the .NET framework in the Microsoft ecosystem. And I can't even remember at this point.
But you've been
been a
on
while.
with a publisher ever since you started, correct?
Yeah, so I started with one publisher, and then there was another one called Pluralsight that started like acquiring different publishers and became the big player in that space. And then I went over to them and started publishing courses directly through them, and have been for the past, say, 15 years or so.
Now, for our viewers who are watching who may want to start a course, they may not have connections to a publisher, their ability to get one. How do you recommend they get started?
Well, and that's the cool thing about where technology sits right now and the amount of tools that are available to us, is that it's not required that you have a publisher. So the best thing is to kind of figure out what is it that you're good at that you can affect change in someone else. Because taking a course is all about creating a transformation in someone else, right? And so based off of your skills, your interest, and your reach, what sort of information can you impart to someone else in order to create something that's valuable in their lives? So you can go through the process of creating the course, creating the assets, and then you can go to some of these independent places in order to publish your course, say through Kajabi. You can even do it through WordPress. You can even do it for free on YouTube and make that available in order to gain an audience. So there's a lot of different ways in which you can point this effort. And so, yeah, using a publisher is one of the ways, but not the only one.
Okay. And now when you build your courses, do they have video modules in them, or are they all text?
No, they're mostly screen share and heads up camera type of situation. So it's basically going between the two different types. And then for my programming courses, I'll have exercises that people can follow along and replicate what I'm doing within the lesson. But a lot of it is basically, PowerPoint, sharing my screen and showing people how to do what I'm doing as I'm going about it.
Okay. Now, when you get signed on with a publisher, do they pay you if you don't mind me asking, I don't want to delve into your finances, but
Yeah.
do they pay you one time for the course, or do you get royalties on every time the course is sold as well, or both?
Yeah, it depends on the deal that you get. So sometimes you have the option of saying that you want a course completion payment, or sometimes what you can say is, I'll just get a tiny little honorarium basically for finishing the course, and then you can get a percentage based off of how much the course is watched. So it really depends on the publisher if you're going through a third party like that, and what sort of deal structure that they have available to authors.
Okay, now once you create the course and deliver it to them, are they responsible for all the marketing, setting up the buy page, all that stuff?
Yeah, through the publishers, yes. Generally, what they'll do is they have their own marketing and sales departments, and they'll handle accounts, and they'll handle returns and billing and all of that kind of those activities.
Okay.
When you do it independently, obviously those are concerns that you have to take on yourself. But again, if you use a full featured suite that can allow you to publish courses by yourself, even that part of the process can be more streamlined as well.
Okay, now let's say my specialty, I do spokesperson work on Fiverr. So I want to make a course, how to be a spokesperson on Fiverr, or an actor on Fiverr. I have all the information. I create this course, yet I can't find a publisher. Do I go to like Udemy, or is that like a race to the bottom where they're selling them for like $10 a course? Where do you do?
Well, I think it comes down to your personal brand and the reach that you can get for yourself. So like if in your case, I wouldn't go to Udemy, I wouldn't even go to a publisher. What I would do is reach the people who are interested in that part of the message that you're trying to put across, right? So the transformation that you're going to take someone on is maybe they have limited amount of experience acting. And what they would like to do eventually, the goal would be to start their own business in order to be able to have gigs where they're doing remote acting that they can sell through Fiverr or whatever, right? So there's a number of different obstacles that present themselves along the way that you as the instructor would be able to essentially knock down. And so once you create that course that answers all those questions, then you could go to a place like Kajabi or framework.so, I think of what it is. And there's a number of different types of services that you could sign up with and either do an on-demand course, or in the terms of like a group setting, you could do what's called a cohort type of course. And there's services like Maven that make that really easy as well. But the point is, like, there's just a ton of different options that are available to you.
And then I could do my own advertising if I couldn't find a publisher, like through Facebook ads, Google AdSense, where I'm targeting people who maybe label themselves as actor on their Facebook profile. I can like geo-target them and target them. They're based in LA, that kind of thing, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you could do any type of targeting through Facebook ads, Instagram ads, or whatnot. That obviously is a venture in where you have to put money out up front in order to reach those people. And so it comes down to your marketing strategy. Do you want to go more organic? Do you want to do paid ads? Do you want to do partnering deals, perhaps with other creators? And that's kind of the neat thing about being independent, is it really gives you a lot of flexibility to be able to do any type or any mixture of those
Okay, now let's say I have this course finished and I do want to pursue getting a publisher. Like with a book publishing, there's thousands of publishers for books. How many like primary publishers for online courses are there? And what do you do? Do you send them like a query? Do you have to have a finished course before you even approach them?
Usually it's the other way around. So what you do is you audition to be an author. I'll just talk about my experience at Pluralsight. You audition to be an author to them. And then you work with a content editor and they say, okay, well, here's the gaps that we need or the content that we need. And so then you decide, okay, well, I'd like to do this course. And then you figure out what the deliverable will be and you go from there. But again, that limits your ability to be able to choose anything you want when you have to deal with, say, a learning path or you have to do something based off of the needs of a publisher. When you're working with a personal brand, there's so many people competing for the same mind space of, say, an actor or someone who teaches people how to do courses. But the people you're going to attract are the ones who like the way that you present the information. They like your approach to teaching. They like how you deliver that. And so when you do it independent, then that really gives you the ultimate freedom to be able to find essentially your tribe and serve the people who are interested in what you have to offer the most.
Okay. Now, would you mind sharing some of the courses that you've created, what the titles were and topics were?
So the ones that I've just released this week was HTML and CSS fundamentals. I did another one which cleverly was called HTML, CSS, and JavaScript fundamentals. I mean, it's basically all beginning web development courses. So if you're a web developer, it might be somewhat interesting to you. But for a general audience, it's probably pretty boring for those courses.
Awesome. Okay, and have you like made any mistakes that you would have learned along the way that you'd say, if I can go back, I would do this differently when I'm building a course now that you have all this experience? What would you do differently in your past courses?
One of the mistakes that I think most of us tend to make is the fact that you come to the table wanting to build a course, having a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience and a lot of information that you want to share. But the fact of the matter is that people don't pay for information. Just about anything that you'd like to learn how to do, you could probably do it for free. It's all available on the web, or you can just ask your friend ChatGPT to teach you it. And so it doesn't come down to information that we want to share. And so one of the earliest mistakes that I made was basically trying to share as much as I can, or make it as comprehensive as possible. And people don't need reference material. They don't want an encyclopedia. What they need is a clear path, and they need to have a transformation in order to make that happen. So our job as course creators is to make something hard, simple, and then take that and put time compression on it. So if I decided I wanted to learn to be an actor and you told me, you know what, in 10 years, no problem, you could do it. I probably could become an actor in 10 years, right? But really, when someone comes to buy your course, what they want to do is figure out how can they do something in a limited amount of time and take that thing that's hard for them and figure out an easy way to present it. And that's what the course creator is going to do. Okay,
I think it's about convenience and speed, because if I was like, all right, I want to learn how to grow tomatoes in my backyard, right? So I want to make a tomato garden. Well, I can go to YouTube and find 70 different videos and different advice, but I don't want to do all that. So I'd be willing to pay a reasonable amount for a course that puts it all into a digestible outline where I can go through the steps in a fairly fast manner. So I think convenience is also a pretty big factor when it comes to a course, right?
Absolutely. Well, and that's what it comes down to, the time aspect of it. Because if it's inconvenient for you, if it takes you forever to achieve that goal, and then our job too is to be able to express a relative amount of assurance that if someone takes your course, it'll be convenient, they'll be able to do it quickly, they'll learn what they need to know, and they'll be successful at it.
Now, you mentioned ChatGPT. How concerned are you as a course creator that it will get to the point where I can say, ChatGPT, make me a course on how to grow tomatoes in my backyard in Colorado, and it would literally break down the whole course for me like in seconds? Is that going to happen in the future, and how is that going to affect course creators?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it will affect the ecosystem in some way. And again, it comes down to how people learn. Now, AI systems are going to get to the point to where they're going to be able to generate video fairly quickly, right? But one thing that cannot be replicated through any sort of AI is the type of interaction that one person can have to the next. I can ask ChatGPT, tell me what are common pitfalls and common mistakes that someone might have in their journey in order to become an actor, which is valuable, but it's not the same as MJ sitting with me and saying, when you go to an audition, you're going to encounter this, and this, and this is the way you handle it. This is how you learn to deal with a casting director. It's that personal touch that will be missing. And so, of course, there'll be people that learn just through AI models, and there'll be people who learn from courses. And that's just the reality that we live in.
I think ChatGPT is going to be forcing people to make their own personal brand, because to where before I might have been a writer on Fiverr where I could write, people hire me, hey, write an article on why, vitamin D is good for people over 50. I can go to ChatGPT, have that written in 2 seconds, or I can give personal experience. I took vitamin D and it upset my stomach, but it really helped my energy levels. And then they're getting ChatGPT can't give a personal experience on taking vitamin D. So
exactly.
I think you need to go towards your own brand, your own perspective, your own opinions. I think we're going to see a lot more opinionated articles and videos in the future as people try to steer away from just the facts, Jack,
I think you're right. Yeah.
Awesome. Now I want to ask you, I know a lot of times I'll buy courses online. I've fallen for a few courses in the past where I probably shouldn't have. You may be late night looking at stuff. I'll buy that. And then what happens is that, I pay $47.99. I get the course and says, but wait, do you really want a 10x your blah, blah, blah? You have to order this for $99. Do your courses include upsells? And what are your general thoughts on upsells?
So upselling is a practice that can be really kind of sleazy, and it can also be a great service to your customers, to your students. One of the things that we have to consider is that anytime you're learning something new, or anytime you achieve something new, any set of activity unlocks a new set of problems. And that's an opportunity for every business, right? Because when you go to get a car wash, well, maybe you want a clean car, but maybe what you really want is a wax in order to make sure that your paint job is protected longer. So if you're upselling people and it's a bait and switch, that's disgusting, right? But if you're upselling and you do it in a way that's simply put like, well, when you're ready, here's these other services or here's these other products that we have available to you, then what you're doing is you're working in service of your customer rather than just trying to squeeze another dollar out of them.
That makes sense. I totally agree with that. As a Fiverr spokesperson, I've probably done a few courses for people that I'm not sure how they turned out, but I always wonder if some of that stuff out there is going to hurt me. Someone's here to see me. Hey, boy. Rick. He misses you, Craig. See this?
Oh my gosh, he's just so much bigger than the last time I saw him.
Let's move on now. Let's move on to the next subject is your podcast and YouTube show, which I want to share the link down below. It's called, am I correct, Leverage 3?
Leverage 3, yeah.
Where does that name come from?
Well, any sort of advantage that comes to us in life is usually some sort of function of leverage, right? Whether we are working with other people and their time is spent on behalf of something that we're trying to accomplish, or you invest money and you're able to leverage that in order to create more profit, or you can just leverage people's experiences. One of the things that stuck out to me as a young man was that I could learn just as much from people's mistakes as I could from their successes. And so when I created this podcast, what I really wanted to do was have an opportunity to spend time and work with high performers and figure out what sort of things are they doing that maybe I could replicate in my life. So the whole point is to leverage the experience of these high performers. And the 3 is something I do at the end of every show, where I ask each guest to share 3 actionable things that the audience can take with them based off of what we've talked about.
That's awesome. And how long ago did you start the podcast?
I actually just started it late last year. So I think around November.
And are you on all the, are you solely YouTube, or are you also on all the platforms for audio?
All the audio platforms. And then I publish the video stream on YouTube as well.
Okay. Well, I'm going to share all your links after we move on to our subscriber giveaway. This is our Winterview series. If you're not signed up, just go to winterview.win. There's no cost to sign up. Just for my regular subscribers, we give out a $25 PayPal payment or Amazon gift card on every episode we do, every interview we do. And Craig, you're going to help me. Let's get set up. All right, Craig, we've got 3 names of our regular subscribers. We've got Squad Buster, one of our newer subscribers. We've got Liza YTC, my buddy from the Philippines, and Regine, who actually has won before on this. So we've got 3 here. I'm going to fold them up, and we're going to see who Craig picks. All right, pick a cup 1 through 3, Craig.
I'm going to pick 2.
2. No one ever picks 2. All right. Here we go. The winner is Regine. Congratulations. I will be in touch with you to PayPal you your $25 PayPal payment. Congratulations, Regine. All right, Craig. So before we go, I've got, I'm going to put your Twitter down below, your website, craigshoemaker.net. And then I'm going to put your YouTube down below. If you're not subscribed, go to his YouTube link. It's at Leverage3 Podcast. It's down below. Be sure and subscribe to his podcast. And who knows, maybe you'll see me on there one day.
I think that's going to happen.
All right. And we're going to go to sushi for sure.
Yes.
Craig, thank you so much for being here. You're officially released from the Wolf Den.